Okay, so here's something you've probably said a million times, right? I go to school,
Hmm.
but then you say, I go home.
Right.
Have you ever stopped to wonder why? Why the two for school, but not for home? It seems like such a tiny thing, but it actually opens up some really interesting doors when you look closely.
It really does. It's one of those linguistic quirks that hide a surprising amount of depth.
So in this deep dive, that's exactly what we're going to unpack. We're looking at this mystery from, well, two really different angles.
Yeah, first, the sort of standard rules of English grammar that we all learn.
And then, something much older, more symbolic a theory, our sources call Odam. Apparently, it translates to the language of Adam.
That's right.
And our mission here is to see how these two explanations, the logical grammar, the ancient symbolism, how they might actually, connect, maybe even align beautifully.
Offering maybe a shortcut to a new way of thinking about language itself.
Exactly. And our sources, they give us both sides, a really clear grammatical breakdown.
And this very rich, creative, symbolic take based on Odam, which connects letters to things like shapes in nature, sounds, basic meanings. It's fascinating stuff.
Okay, let's start with the grammar then, the stuff we kind of know. When do we typically use to as a preposition, for direction?
Well, the sources explain that to generally indicates movement towards a specific kind of destination, usually something general, fixed, often an institution,
An institution.
like school.
Exactly. School fits that perfectly. It's an established institution, a fixed place. That's why we say go to school, just like you'd say go to work or go to church, go to the hospital.
Right, those are all common sort of fixed destinations.
Shared destinations, often.
Okay, but then we hit the exception. I go home. No to. Why? If to is for fixed destinations, I mean, home is a destination, isn't it? What makes it the odd one out?
That's where English grammar has this interesting little feature. Home is, well, it's special.
Special how?
It can act as both a noun, my home is nice, but also as an adverb of place or direction. An adverb, like here or there.
Precisely. So when you use home to talk about movement, the word itself implies the direction. The towards idea is already baked in.
So you don't need the to, because the direction is already inside the word home.
You got it. It's like saying I go there. You wouldn't say I go to there, right? There already has the direction. Home works similarly in this context.
Huh. So home has its own kind of built-in GPS for direction. That's pretty neat. A linguistic shortcut?
It is a specific grammatical behavior.
Okay, so grammatically that makes sense. To for general, fixed places, but home is an adverb of direction. But what about this other layer, this Odam theory?
Right, this is where it gets really interesting, potentially much deeper.
Our sources introduced this Odam idea of the language of Adam. And the core idea is pretty radical, that language wasn't just, invented by humans sitting around.
But perhaps discovered. Derived from observing nature, connecting the very shapes of letters, their sounds, to fundamental meanings found in the world.
So how does that perspective explain go to school versus go home? Let's start with to. Does Odam have anything to say about the letters T and O?
It absolutely does. According to this theory, the letter T has a powerful symbolic meaning. It represents the tree.
The tree.
Yeah. Think about a tree. It's rooted, tall, fixed, certain. It stands its ground. Symbolically, it represents a kind of universal place, a shared goal, a landmark everyone can see.
Okay, I can see that, like a meeting point.
Exactly. And destinations like school or work or a market, they function like that, don't they? Common targets for many people.
Yeah.
Fixed points in the community.
Right, so that's the T. What about the O sound in to?
Well, in Odam, O represents the circle.
The circle, meaning?
Gathering, collection, convergence, unity. Think of people coming together in a circle. It represents a collective target, a place where people converge.
So if you put them together, T plus O, T-O.
Symbolically, according to Odam, to signifies movement towards that inherent direction again, a place that is both fixed and shared, tan the tree, and collective over the circle.
Like a school or a temple or a market, places where lots of people gather at a specific spot.
Precisely. The symbolism aligns with the nature of those destinations.
Okay, that's a fascinating way to look at to. So then, how does Odam explain home? Why no to there?
Because home, from this symbolic viewpoint, is fundamentally different. It's not a shared universal tree or circle in the same way a school or market is.
That's personal.
deeply personal. It's subjective. My home isn't your home. It varies completely from person to person. It doesn't have that T quality of being a fixed, universal landmark, nor the O quality of being a collective gathering point for everyone.
So it doesn't need the T plus O structure.
Exactly. The sources describe going home not as a public journey to a collective point, but as a personal return. It's movement back to your unique origin point, not towards a shared target.
A personal return, not a public journey. I like that phrasing.
It captures the essence of the difference, doesn't it?
It really does. Now, our sources also picked up on something else. The sound. Did you notice? When we actually say to, it often sounds more like ta or tu.
With that U sound.
Yeah, the U sound. Does Odom Tilly have anything for the sound U?
It does, and this adds another really neat layer. In Odom Tilly theory, the sound U is connected to water flow.
Water.
Yes, movement, fluid transition, flow. Think of a river. Oop. So what's fascinating here is when you say go to school, the very sound, according to this theory, phonetically mimics that feeling of flowing towards the goal.
Like the journey has already started in the sound itself.
Kind of, yeah. It creates this phonetic shape. The T is stable, rooted like the tree, like your feet on the ground. But the U sound is like moving water, the flow, the spirit moving towards the destination. One source uses a great analogy. You stand on your feet like the tree, but your spirit flows like the river.
Wow. Or T is the anchor, U is the flow towards it. That's quite poetic for a preposition.
Isn't it? It suggests a depth to the sounds themselves.
So let's try and bring this all together then. We've got the straightforward English grammar rules, and we've got this really evocative, ancient, symbolic theory, Odam Tilly. What does it mean when we put them side by side?
Well, what's truly remarkable and what the sources emphasize is how well they align. They aren't contradictory at all. It's like the grammatical rules we use every day unknowingly echo these deeper, perhaps subconscious symbolic meanings that Odom Tilly suggests.
So two different paths leading to the same understanding.
Exactly. The logic of grammar and the symbolism of Odom Tilly converge beautifully on why we treat school and home differently.
Can we just quickly recap the examples through both lenses?
Sure. So I go to school, grammatically. School is a fixed institution, a general destination needs to.
Right.
Symbolically, with Odom Tilly, you're going towards a T, a fixed tree, a common landmark, and an O, a collective circle, a gathering place. Both views see school as a shared fixed destination needing that directional marker.
Okay, makes sense. And I go home.
Grammatically, home acts as an adverb of direction. The direction is inherent, so no to is needed.
Got it.
Symbolically, it's a personal return, not a journey to a universal tree or collective circle. It's subjective, individual. So no T plus O structure is required because it doesn't fit the symbolic meaning of home.
Again, both explanations arrive at the same conclusion. Home is different, doesn't use to.
Precisely. And even something like, I go to the park. Grammatically, park is a fixed location, needs to. Symbolically, that too fits. A park often does have fixed elements, trees, and it's a place people might gather. It aligns.
That's the real aha moment, isn't it? Seeing how these practical grammar rules might just be reflecting these much older, nature-based, symbolic ideas, maybe without us even realizing it.
It really suggests that maybe language wasn't just arbitrarily put together, but perhaps evolved, shaped subconsciously by how we perceive the world, by the very geometry and sounds of nature around us. That's the core idea Odom Tilly puts forward.
It's quite profound when you think about it. This whole deep dive, starting from such a simple question, why no to before home? It really shows how even the smallest, most everyday words we use can carry these, I don't know, ancient echoes, these deep connections back to possibly how language first emerged.
It's a powerful reminder, isn't it, that language isn't just a static set of rules in a textbook. It's this living, breathing system.
Yeah, potentially shaped by our earliest observations, our connection to the natural world.
Which leads to a really provocative thought to leave you with.
Okay.
If this simple case of to versus no to holds these potential echoes of Ode Tilly, this language of Adam shaped by nature, what other everyday words, what other grammatical structures that we use without thinking, what other parts of our language might also carry these ancient fingerprints, shaped not by logic or convention alone, but by the inherent geometry, the sounds, the harmony of the natural world itself.
So maybe we should all start listening to the words we use a little differently from now on.
Perhaps. It certainly gives you something to think about next time you head home.